Hello, everyone. Your Excellencies, distinguished panels, distinguished guests, all the participants and the audience, and all our good friends from all over the world. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. We are going to commence the 191st Ocean Forum of Ocean Policy Research Institute, Sasuke Peace Foundation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Hide Sakaguchi, the president of Ocean Policy Research Institute, Sasuke Peace Foundation. Very good to see you. Today's forum, specifically speaking, is the forum to commemorate the first port call at Yokohama of the beautiful tall ship from Norway, which is called Statsraad Lehmkuhl. You can see outside from this window, that big tall ship is 108 years old. And within the long history of Japan, almost 1,700 years, this is the first port call to welcome Norwegian tall ship. So congratulations to succeed. It's on the way. It's a part, but last 2 weeks it's started from Coral Prau to Japan, all the way to Japan, together with approximately 75 passengers together. And I would like to say, congratulations to succeed to come into Yokohama. And this Statsraad Lehmkuhl expedition means not just expedition, but it's a support for the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, starting from 2021 to 2030. And as you know, or you may not know, but the objective of the UN Ocean Decade is to explore whole globe of ocean to know, because we human beings still don't know. Maybe only 10% or 50% we got know what kind of animals or what kind of creatures there, but rest of them we still don't know. And if we think about sustainable development, which is now it's a common term, if we don't know where and what and how things are going on, we cannot do anything. And that's why within 10 years, starting from last year to 2030, United Nations decided to enhance the ocean science. That is very important to do. But 10 years seem to be very long, but in fact, almost 2 years has passed. That means we only have 8 years. So within 8 years, what we can do, what we should do. And these are the main topic of this forum today. From France, from Norway, and from Japan, and Fiji, and Indonesia, and Portugal. We all have the participants in this room and also in the online. But please think about the main theme of this forum today. And I would like to inform this forum is on a stream of YouTube, so it is broadcasted all over the world from this room, and also subtitle underneath the screen. You can select either English or Japanese, whatever, to get to know more and more details, the information from this forum. So now I would like to introduce Ambassador Inger Nyhammer ambassador of the Kingdom of Norway in Tokyo, to give us the welcome remarks. Ambassador Nyhamel, please take your floor.
President Sakaguchi, Chair of the Norwegian UN Ocean National Committee, Siri Grandum Carson, ladies and gentlemen, present and online, I'm honored to be invited here today to the 191st Ocean Forum, congratulations, titled The First Port Call of the Statsraad Lehmkuhl in Asia and the UN Decade of Ocean Science, What We Must Do to Correct the Knowledge Divide in Ocean Science. Your title is a bit of a mouthful, but it also holds reminders of quite some importance. Over the past couple of days, we at the Norwegian Embassy in Tokyo have been happy to see the Norwegian tall ship Statsraad Lehmkuhl visiting the port of Yokohama. It is in itself an occasion to have a 108-year-old tall ship and training vessel visiting Japan and Asia for the first time in its history. However, the occasion for its visit, the One Ocean Expedition, raises the significance of the port call. The One Ocean Expedition is the circumnavigation of the globe to mark the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. The vision of the Ocean Decade is the science we need for the ocean we want. And this envisages nothing less than a revolution in ocean science that will trigger a step change in humanity's relationship with the ocean. On its 20-month journey, which started in Norway in August last year and will continue until it's back in Norway in April next year, the changing crew members representing research institutions, companies, civil society organizations, and others will collect data and records finds that will contribute to increase our knowledge on ocean-related issues. And as you pointed out, Sakaguchi-san, there is quite a lot left to know. Just as importantly, though, the aim of the expedition is to share knowledge and raise awareness about the importance of the ocean for our common sustainable future, highlighting sustainable development goals, and especially development goal number 14, life below water, which is one of the 17 sustainable development goals which all UN members have taken on. There have been events on board and events on land that all have demonstrated the efforts in finding knowledge and science-based solutions to ensure a sustainable future for our ocean. The expedition is uniting young people, scientists, and international leaders in building new knowledge about the ocean through education, science, and technology. Statsraad Lehmkuhl's legs from Palau and through Japanese waters will gather people from more than 12 countries of all ages, scientists, students, business people, innovators, politicians. This, I think, is also key in addressing the second part of the title for your seminar today, because we do have a knowledge divide between countries, between regions, between people. Haves and have-nots, different levels of development, economic prosperity, and political acuity. It is only by coming together and finding common cause that we bridge knowledge gaps, by sharing knowledge, data, and resources in such a way that those who need it most not only get the knowledge, but also are able to make use of it. For Norway, it is a priority that all coastal states develop plans for sustainable ocean management regimes by 2030. We need to use the tools and structures that we have, such as the Norway-Japan Agreement on Cooperation in Science and Technology, to mention but one example, to find ways in which we can also involve those who do not have access to the same resources and knowledge that is available to us. Norway is a large contributor in developing ocean science and technology that provides solutions with lesser impact on our ocean in shipping and the offshore sector, energy, and in marine food production. All these are motivating factors for Norway's engagement in the One Ocean Expedition and the Ocean Decade, which is the Prime Minister's role as patron of the Ocean Decade Alliance and for Norway's participation in rules-making procedures to ensure a well-functioning, productive, resilient, and sustainable ocean. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for wonderful remarks, which we should remind Your Excellency's word, all through this forum. We have another welcome remark from the Embassy of Republic of Palau, Peter Azelbai, to give us the welcome remarks. Please take the floor.
Good evening, and Dr. Hide Sakaguchi, President of the Ocean Policy Research Institute of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, Her Excellency Ms. Inga Myanmar, the Ambassador of Norway, Dr. Vladimir Ryabinin, Executive Director of UNESCO IOC, and ladies and gentlemen participating in this meeting both online and in person. Thank you for the opportunity to address this forum. I'm Peter Adelbai, as Dr. Sakaguchi had mentioned, the Ambassador of Palau to Japan. The other day, Monday, I had a distinct opportunity to join the party that received the arrival of this very impressive vessel, the Lehmkuhl, Statsraad Lehmkuhl. And the Statsraad Lehmkuhl departed Koror, Palau on August 27 and arrived in Tokyo on Monday. Palau, as you know, is co-chairing with Norway the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy, because ocean is so vital to our countries. The President of Palau, Mr. Surangol Wips Jr., visited Japan last week, where he affirmed his commitment to work with the Japanese government, the Nippon Foundation, the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, and the OPRI to collaborate in realizing Blue Prosperity Plan. And in promoting these actions, it is very important to have marine science and Palauan youth involved. And I should also say that we're very grateful that in addition to those two that were sponsored by the Institute, there were 3 others. So we had a total of 5 students on board. So with that, our immense gratitude. We hope the One Ocean Expedition and this forum will help to promote the knowledge and preservation of the ocean. As a young boy, I grew up near the ocean. And the way we learn to survive with the ocean is very primitive, you would say. Our elder brothers will take us to the water, pick us up and throw us in the water and goes, save yourself. That's how we learned, because we are always with the ocean. And then there were times that we were looking forward for some drift, like a driftwood or a drift log, because those are the objects that we would use in our daily play. And occasionally we would have glass floaters. Nowadays, it's quite a different world. Not only because of the climate change, but because of the emergence of different, ways of handling our waste. And so I'm very happy again that our students were able to take part in the journey from Palau to Japan. And I'm sure that they learned not only to travel on a vessel, but also how the ideas for managing our sustainable ocean, and especially with regards to waste. And with that, once again, Mr. Sakaguchi and Madam Ambassador, thank you so much for this opportunity to be a part of this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Zerubai, for your very encouraging and warm words. Thank you very much. Now, we would like to move on the keynote speech. The first keynote speech will be given by Dr. Vladimir Ryabinin, Executive Secretary of UNESCO IOC. The reason I asked him to come to Japan this time is, as I mentioned at the beginning, we should take an action, to promote ocean science. We only have 8 years left. So I would like you, Vladimir, to explain how important and what's the real meaning of UN Ocean Decade. So please take your floor, Vladimir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hide. Dr. Sakaguchi for everybody, for me, Hide, and I'm Vladimir for Hide. Your Excellency, Ambassador Ingani Hamar, dear colleagues, so basically my job is to convert you to scientists, to oceanographers. So I think it's not impossible. And indeed, Ambassador mentioned in her introductory speech the divide in ocean science. I will illustrate the range of that divide, which is quite striking. So, wonderful ship, wonderful atmosphere in the room. Let's just move forward and see what we can do together. So, ladies and gentlemen, 2015, United Nations, 193 countries, all unanimously move forward on adopting the Agenda 2030. This means basically the chance for the world to have food, to live in peace, in dignity, and there are many technicalities that are the conditions for achieving the life as we would like to see it. But in 2016, the Third World Ocean Assessment already announced to the world that the ocean is not ready to deliver, because ocean is in a state of crisis. And this is a 1,000-page document, but I would like to summarize it in one sentence. Humankind is running out of time to start managing the ocean sustainably. What it means, managing the ocean. Coastal zone, look at this coast. It really requires protection, requires management. We have to work also offshore. This also requires coordination, optimization. Climate is changing. Adaptation, mitigation to climate change very much is an ocean-related task. Fisheries, aquaculture, so important for this country. And many other things, including politics, including policies, including real-time services. So these are scientifically intensive ways of managing the ocean. Our life on this planet is more and more science-intensive, depends on science. Science is also a way of living in a more transparent world. Actually, the scope of ocean science can be represented in different ways. This is just one way of representing this through the functions that are implemented by the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO. Ocean research, key issues: acidification, deoxygenation, pollution, and many other much more subtle and much more complex things. Observations in the ocean, exchange of data, turning this into real-time services like tsunami warnings, so important for this country, and then also developing policies, ways of managing the ocean, and then converging towards managing the ocean in a practical sense. But not everyone can do this, so we need to develop capacity to manage the ocean and to live in harmony with the ocean. And for the first time in history, actually, in 2017, IOC published Global Ocean Science Report that analyzed the state of ocean science. This is the scope of ocean science: biology, geophysics, mathematics, ocean economy, and things like this. So ocean science is not just you put instruments in the water. Ocean science is manifesting in many ways of how we interact with the ocean. And that is a striking map that does not look familiar to many of you. This is the map that shows indeed the divide in the capacity of ocean science. It was constructed on the basis of a Global Ocean Science Report that we published in 2017, and the area of countries shows the ability to publish literature in ocean science. You will see the centers of strength in this map: North America, Europe, Eastern Asia. You will definitely see Japan, Korea, France, Australia. You don't see Africa on the map. You don't see small and developing states, because this is the proportion to the publications in the world. We need to change that. We need to make really the world equitable for everyone. So now we started to learn what is the situation in ocean science. 2020, we are publishing the second edition of the Global Ocean Science Report. In that report, for the first time, we were able to understand that the world is spending 1.7% of total research money to research in the ocean. Imagine 70% of the area of the planet, 1.7% of the research. We are under-observing, we are understanding the ocean and this space in the quality of life. And I have to say that also we're able to manage measure some other elements of ocean science. For example, we have 38% of women working in ocean science. That is larger, 10% larger than overall proportion of women in the sciences. So that's kind of good news. So we would like to mainstream ocean science. 2017, IOC proposes to United Nations a decade of ocean science for sustainable development, tough negotiations, and they agreed. And Ambassador already quoted the vision of ocean science. The science we need for the ocean we want. And now we have also implementation plan. We are in the second year of implementation of the ocean decade. And basically the idea is to have by 2030 7 qualities of the ocean: clean, healthy, resilient, productive, predicted. I'm reading here: safe, accessible, inspiring, and engaging. When you look at think about these adjectives, inspiring and engaging, is it about ocean? It's really about us in our relation with the ocean. That is what we'd really like to change. We'd like to change the attitude, but we have to work in several areas. We have to work in key challenges. We call it 10 decade ocean challenges, which are initial challenges, focusing on pollution, focusing on the health of ecosystems, understanding this, dealing with food from the ocean, ocean economy, ocean climate nexus. For that, we have to develop some technologies, some approaches and solutions in the domain of ocean observations, in the domain of data exchange, turning ocean also into kind of a digital representation of the ocean, concept of digital ocean twin and things like this. But most importantly, we have to develop the capacity of ocean science, and we have to change our relation. And you know, you can only protect what you love, and you can only love what you know. That's basically the idea. And I have to say that in these 2 years, we have been relatively successful in increasing the scale of ocean work in the science. So now we have, after the 2 calls for decade actions, we have 43 programs, 146 different projects. And and the ocean science is very much technocratic. For me, it was at least several years ago. Now this is really human science. We also have a program on empowering women in ocean science, empowering early career ocean professionals. We have a decade of ocean empathy. We are generating also a campaign that is engaging public in the campaign that's called Generation Ocean. So that is the new science. It is not only about mathematics and derivatives, computing science. This is the science that brings together people in the spirit of co-design. And that is exactly the change that happened. We are relatively successful and also in engaging countries. India is going to invest in around $1 billion in ocean research. USA around $1 billion. Europe several billion. And some other countries. China also. And I have to say that investing in the ocean science is probably the best investment in peace, in economy, in prosperity of people, and also in changing the atmosphere in the world. So that is my last slide. Hide already mentioned. We had 10 years, we have 8 years, we didn't lose time. I think we are moving successfully. And the tall ship is also contributing to changing the atmosphere, engaging everyone in the work on the decade. So decade is not just the science for curiosity. This is the science that will help us to live sustainably. That is the idea of the decade. But for that, the science has to be resourceful, competent, and this is only possible if the science is connected and is embedded in the ocean economy, and if the science is common for everyone. That's exactly why we're engaging everyone in co-design of decade programs. And I would like to say that it's very important that design is also ethical, equitable. And this is the vision of the new science that is taking us to living in harmony with the ocean. With that, I thank you. Thank you, Hide, for inviting me. Pleasure to speak to you, and I hope very much that you will join this cruise. At least, some will virtually, can do it virtually, but, join the motion to the ocean we need for the future we want. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vladimir. Now, we learned what is UN Ocean Decade directly from the leader of UN Ocean Decade. So why don't we take an action, based on the information what he gave us? Thank you very much, Vladimir. And we have one more keynote speech from Dr. François Houllier, President of IFREMER. As you know, France has a pretty large EEZ in all over the world. And as Vladimir mentioned, not only the leading country, but also we should include, all the countries, including developing countries and small island countries together, because the problem and the disaster in the ocean remains in those areas. So I think Francois will mention about that, in those, the ways to do that. Dr. Houllier, please take your floor.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to share my screen. Will it be okay like that? Do you see my screen?
Not yet.
Aha. Is it okay that way?
For the moment.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I forgot to. Okay. My God. So I'm sorry for the problem. Did you get my screen now?
Unfortunately, not yet.
Okay, so maybe because I shared lately my presentation, so I don't know how to do that. I tried last time, and then if it doesn't work, I don't know why it doesn't work. I have to, I'm sorry. I don't know how to do it. I'm sorry. There is a sort of problem with the security with the computers. So I don't know whether it's possible to show my slides from, because I sent them just recently, but anyway, I will try to do that. First of all, dear President of the Ocean Policy Research Foundation, dear Hede, and Your Excellency, I'm very honored that you invited me to give this speech. I apologize for not being with you. I would definitely have liked to do that, especially because we have been having long-standing collaboration with Japanese organizations, JAMSTEC, but also the Fisheries Research Agency, as well as universities. So I sincerely apologize. Do you know whether it's possible for you to project? Oh yes, that's fine. My slides. That's great. So if you move to the next slide, I would like to start with the next slide with a brief presentation of IFREMER. I fully support all what has been said by Vladimir Ryabinin. Thank you, Vladimir, for your presentation. And I will take another perspective, which is to try to share with you how we see this decade from a research organization such as IFREMER. So IFREMER, we have a strategy which fairly well aligns with the Ocean Decade goals. We have three raisons d'être, or three main ambitions. One is to sustainably manage marine resources, be they physical or biological resources. The second one is to protect and restore marine ecosystems, but also to protect the people from the marine hazards, because they do exist. And the last one is to share marine data, share information services that can be derived from this data so that they can be disseminated to the general public, as well as to the private companies or to the governments. IFREMER is present all along French seashore. On the next slide, you will see that we are also present in the Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans because of the overseas territories, the French overseas territories there, which provides an opportunity for us to interact with the different countries, also in different ocean basins and regions. On the next slide, and this will be the last about the presentation of IFREMER, we have been at IFREMER operating the French oceanographic fleet for now a while, and at the benefit of the whole French scientific community. And I do like this slide because here you see that there is only one ocean, of course, and you see also the connectivity of this ocean. You also see the campaigns that we have been carrying out on the 7 seas for the sake and for the benefit of all the French scientific community, and very often in collaboration with the international partners. When you sail on the French oceanographic vessel, very often you meet colleagues from various countries. I will not name them. I would like now to focus on our next slide, on our contribution to the UN Decade of Ocean Science, saying that we are leading or we are involved in several decade actions in all categories. And this may be a way to illustrate more concretely the way we can use this decade. On the next slide, I would like to emphasize the fact that thanks to the decade, we were able to attract the attention of the French government, which allocated 40 million euros to both CNRS and IFREMER, so two sister organizations which are interested in ocean science in France. And so we got that money for organizing a priority research program on ocean and climate. We had yesterday a review of that program, which has been launched in 2021. And the projects that are there is one project about the ocean circulation in the North Atlantic, and which with a strong focus on the Arctic. There is one program on the risks in the tropical overseas territories in France. We have projects also on the digital twin of the ocean. So somehow this program is well aligned with the goals of the decade, and this is a French contribution. So there are not so many international connections there, but we use the decade to channel more means, more money to our domain, and to do that along the lines that have been proposed and decided by the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science. And so this program has been labeled as a contribution to the decade. The second type of contribution that we do have, this is on the next slide, it's about what is called decade programs and projects. At IFREMER, we are proud of being in charge of one program, which is the One Ocean Network for Deep Observation, with a small name, One Deep Ocean, which is a program that brings together different seabed and water column observatory networks. Equipments, facilities that are set up very deep in the ocean, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 meters depth, and which provide us an opportunity to understand the physics and the biology and the ecology of the ocean in these environments that none of us is able to see regularly. And this One Deep Ocean Network is carried out by IFREMER in close collaboration with JAMSTEC in Japan, as well as with Ocean Network Canada. And within this, or associated to this program, there is a project that was recently labeled, which is called Marmor. This is an observatory of the Mayotte submarine volcano, which was discovered in 2019. You may know that Mayotte Island is a small island in the Indian Ocean. And so this was a big scientific discovery, and we are going to set up here a new observatory, which will be part of this big network of seabed and water column observatory. Another project that is associated to One Deep Ocean is Ocean Spy, which was recently labeled by the Ocean Decade. And this is interesting because this is a project that will be a sort of enlargement of something we have been doing in France for a while, which is proposing to citizens, proposing to scholars, proposing to pupils at schools and to their professors to analyze data and images that come from deep ocean observatories. And this is what is called the citizen science, and it works quite well. And it provides an opportunity for the civil society, for the citizens, to know more about these deep environments which they will never access to. And also it provides an opportunity for the scientists to share their knowledge, and also to get some more strength and more capability to annotate and review all these films that we are obtaining in the deep sea environment from these observatories. The third type of actions that we do have under the decade are decade activities, and I will mention 3 of them on the next slide, please. And I will move quite quickly to the next slide. One was a digital tour of ocean and climate science, which is called One Ocean Science. I will go back to that. And the other one is École Bleue Outre-mer, which is a sort of echo to what the tall ship, the Norwegian tall ship Statsraad Lehmkuhl is doing. Maybe next slide, I will illustrate these two activities. Yes, One Ocean Science, what was the purpose? What we wanted to convey to last COP26, last climate COP in Glasgow last year, we wanted to convey the message that ocean science matters. And how did we do that? We organized a digital tour of ocean and climate science, which was presented at that COP26. And we gathered 37 research institutions in 33 countries. And each institution provided a 2-minute video, some speaking about the impact of climate change on fish populations and the migration of fish populations and the impact on fisheries, some other providing a short video about the sea level rise due to climate change. So using these 37 videos, plus the nice video by Thomas Pesquet who was at that moment the commander of the International Space Station, we had an opportunity to show different aspects of ocean and climate interactions in different ocean basins. And we were able to reach 9 million people through social networks. So one way of somehow bridging or closing the knowledge gap that you mentioned, Vladimir, and I do agree with your concern with that knowledge gap. And to finish my presentation, I would like to, on the next slide, illustrate another type of action that we had, and that was labeled by the UN Decade. It's École Bleue Outre-mer, Cap Océan Indien. What did we do there? There have been what is called floating universities for a long time, meaning there are some professors and scientists who take a few students on board, and they teach to these students what students in ocean science, they teach on board, well, their future job of ocean scientists. Here we made something slightly different. This floating university was definitely interdisciplinary, so we had all types of students in ocean science, from natural sciences, physical sciences, economic sciences. But we also had students in art and communication that were on board and were not at all dedicated to ocean before. And we also had on board students who are trained in maritime or marine logistics, who will be sailors or will be marine officers. So we had a very different spectrum of students. And these students did three legs, three parts of a campaign in the Indian Ocean, from La Réunion Island to Mayotte and back. And they spent on one of the biggest oceanographic vessel. They spent several weeks there. And the last part of this campaign was a seminar of general directors coming from France or coming from the region, and also from regional decision makers. So the whole idea here was that we had two common goods. Science and knowledge is a common good, but Indian Ocean is another common good. And so the idea is that we wanted to have also people from different countries on board. So there were students from France, of course, but mainly from overseas territories, some coming from the mainland in here in Paris or around, but so from the overseas and France in general, but also from Seychelles, from Comor, from Madagascar and Tanzania. So I think this was something very new, and the idea was that we had two common goods to share. And that was also one way of closing the knowledge gap that we propose under the Ocean Decade. So to finish my presentation, and hope I have not been too long, I would like to say that I see this Ocean Decade of ocean science for sustainable development both as a duty and as an opportunity. A duty because it has been clearly illustrated by Vladimir. Ocean is facing many critical threats. A duty also because, as I said, ocean and science, ocean and knowledge are two common goods, and we have to share these common goods, not only within the scientific community, but more broadly with all the society. And we feel also that this is an opportunity because we have this opportunity not only to share our knowledge, but also to attract people to imagine new types of projects. I'm very impressed by this Lehmkuhl expedition carried out by the tall ship Statsraad. I think there are plenty of projects that we have still an opportunity to carry out in the next 8 years of the decade that can help us designing solutions on the side and also bridging this knowledge gap and this divide that Vladimir insisted on. Thank you very much, and really I apologize for not being with you, but thank you again, Hide, for inviting me.
Merci beaucoup, François. Thank you very much for your comprehensive introduction of the activities of IFREMER and also, the France. We learned a lot, and your last, the words, the duty and opportunity induced by UN Ocean Decade. That means a lot, and also in the first trouble of the slide. You proved you are not on the recorded video message, but on the live, the message. Thank you very much. You attracted all the audience in this room. So please next time, please come to Japan and share your perspective of France. Thank you. Okay, so. Let's move on. The next speaker is Dr. Siri Granum Carlson, Oceans Director of NTNU from Norway. Dr. Carlson is gonna give us the Norwegian perspective for the UN Ocean Decade. Dr. Carlson, please take your floor.
I have to turn this on. Now this is better. Such a pleasure to be here. Such an honor to be here also on the same stage as Dr. Ryabinin. So I'm very happy to be able to share some of our perspectives from Norway when it comes to the ocean decade. And I'm here representing NTNU as director for NTNU Oceans, which is a strategic research area for oceans science at NTNU. But also as the chair of the National Committee for the Ocean Decade in Norway. So I'll talk mostly about the latter aspect. But of course, NTNU is part of what we are doing in Norway to a large extent, since we are the biggest university in Norway. So as we all know, and as heard already in these great keynote speeches, there are huge threats to the ocean: pollution, climate change, overfishing. But also at the same time, the oceans are often brought forward as the solution to many of the sustainability challenges that we are facing as a planet, such as in this illustration by the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy, already mentioned by His Excellency, the Ambassador from Palau, that attempts to show how the oceans can be vital in the mitigation of climate change. So in this situation, we need to balance. We need to balance these threats to the ocean and the way we can use the ocean to solve the challenges that we are facing. Going a little bit back to the UN Ocean Decade, which is having the main goals to stimulate and coordinate global research efforts to generate comprehensive knowledge about the ocean, increase the use of ocean knowledge in society. So it's not only about generating more knowledge. We already have a lot of knowledge that we are not really using in the best way. So it's also about spreading the knowledge and being better capable of using it in order to reach SDG 14. We have already heard several times already this excellent vision for the decade. I would like to also draw your attention to the mission that I think with the talk by Dr. Ryabinin very clearly showed that it's not your everyday ocean science that we are reaching for. It's a transformative ocean science, which is connecting people and our oceans. So we are looking for interdisciplinarity. We are looking for cross-sectoral collaborations. We are looking to reach out to citizens. Seen from Norway, obviously, we are an ocean nation like Japan. We are controlling ocean areas more than 6 times the size of our land areas. This has given us and is still giving us a potential for value creation that we have been good at taking advantage of, but it also, of course, gives us a clear national and global responsibility to contribute to knowledge-based governance of the ocean and a sustainable blue economy, and a special responsibility looking at the map here, of course, for the Arctic, which we focused on in a very nice seminar here yesterday, and for the northern areas, that this part of the oceans will undergo more severe changes than anywhere else in the coming years. In other words, we are responsible for contributing significantly to the UN Decade outcomes, and we are ready to do so. I have been given the great honor and pleasure, I must say, to chair the Norwegian Ocean Decade Committee, which has a goal to ensure that our effort really goes into this big dugnad, as we say in Norway, working together to reach the Ocean Decade goals. And our main task is to give advice and exchange information with specifically the Research Council, who's the kind of contact point for the Ocean Decade in Norway, and to act as ambassadors for the decade, for example, in situations like this, and mobilize resources and get activities going. We are a broad, wonderful committee with representatives both from research but also business, NGO, governance and communication, working to sort of spread the happy message about the Ocean Decade. We are working also on the basis of this plan, which is developed by an expert group that gives kind of the signals for which areas are specifically important for the Norwegian efforts, and to sort of give us the direction. They have proposed 10 areas for us to prioritize. And you see the web address there if you want to have a closer look. I won't have time to go through all these areas, but these are specific areas. We see the Arctic, for example, keeping the Arctic as one, as we talked about yesterday. But I've been asked specifically today to focus a little bit on this here, global economy development for within the blue area, and development effort towards the developing countries specifically. So are we good at this in Norway? Well, we like to think so, and in one way, depending on the perspective, one might say that we are. This is a report by NORAD working specifically on this topic in Norway, a report called Making Waves. That shows that the Norwegian aid to ocean-related activity last year amounted to 782 million Norwegian kroner, some 80 million euros, which sounds like a lot, but compared to the total aid being 40 billion, might not be that big of a number. So the share of Norwegian aid in total going to ocean-related projects is a mere 2.1%. On the other hand, if you look at all countries and the aid going to developing countries, looking at the OECD data platform, it's down to 1.2%. So in other words, we have a job to do, not only in Norway, but in the whole world when it comes to directing more of our activities in this direction, because this is a sustainable form of aid. This is a way of really sort of helping the ocean and helping and having a development aid that really makes a difference. So I think we should really raise this issue high on the agenda. I just want to mention briefly before I close some of our Ocean Decade action. I don't really have to mention the One Ocean Expedition, since we have the proof of it right outside the window here, and we have already talked about it a lot. But of course, it's a very nice activity that we are proud of. I wanted to also mention the Sailing for Science initiative, which is also an endorsed action from Norway, shared by NTNU, and focusing very much like the one IFREMER action mentioned on citizen science, getting citizens involved in developing a comprehensive ocean data platform. I also wanted to mention this economics initiative, because it shows that also private business initiatives can be endorsed by the Ocean Decade. This is one of the few that has attempted to and has been so, and it's a joint Norwegian-Japanese venture which attempts to both help restore blue forest in the ocean and at the same time feed the world with these delicious urchins. So I think our National Committee in Norway is focusing specifically on getting the private industry more involved in the Ocean Decade, because we cannot reach the goal without the help of private industry. Can we reach these ambitious goals? Well, we heard some optimism from the chief of it all. So, and I would just also like to quote Franklin D. Roosevelt: to reach support, we must set sail. Sail, not tie at anchor. Sail, not drift. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Carlson. You showed the way Norway is promoting for UN Ocean Decade, and also so far we have lots of topic to collaborate and already collaboration. But we have found out in last three speakers that lots of interesting attracting topics. So why don't we do that? Because attraction and inclusion into the ocean is one of the big topic for the UN Ocean Decade. Thank you very much in that sense. Okay, now we are going to move on to listen the progress report from the Dr. Yokoi. He was on a one ocean expedition, real one ocean expedition from Palau to Japan in last 2 weeks. So we can listen what was going on in the expedition from last 2 weeks. So Dr. Yokoi, please take your floor from the podium.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I will give a presentation in Japanese, so please set your
Channel 2.
Thank you, Dr. Sakaguchi. My name is Satoru Yokoi from Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology, or JAMAC, JAMSTEC. From Korol to Yokohama, I traveled on the Statsraad Lehmkuhl. So let me take this opportunity to give you a report on this leg of the cruise. Now, on the 27th of August, we departed Korol port of Palau, and then very smoothly we sailed north. And on the 10th of September, last Saturday, we arrived in the Tokyo Bay. And for 2 days, we enjoyed the beautiful night view of the Yokohama before the docking on the Yokohama port. And you can see there are 3 stars on this map. On these locations, we conducted the observations and data collection. And precisely speaking, we threw into the ocean these argo floats. As you can see on the right-hand side, after throwing this thrown into the ocean, it descends into the ocean automatically, and at a designated the depth, it started to surface. In that during that the process, it measures salinity and the temperature. The data were automatically sent to the satellites, and then it repeats this process automatically. This started the international Argo project throughout the world, and Argo floats have been deployed in thousands in oceans of the world. And here we were supported by mariners, and we threw into the ocean 3 of them. And these Argo floats we deployed a little bit different from ordinary Argo floats, because our target was the typhoons, for example, and its relations with the ocean. We wanted to know this in more detail. And 2 years ago, we did this, and this is the result. The typhoon number 10 in 2020 the typhoon that passed by the typhoon, the Argo we deployed, and the day by day, the Argo moved and they measured the water temperature down to the 100 meters water depth. And so on the surface, the water temperature went down, and then after the passage of the typhoon, the thermocline declined. So this could tell us that this determines how the typhoon can develop. So after the passage of the typhoon, the process that the water temperature recovered to the normal level was very important. So at least once at a day, we measured the water temperature and the salinity. This was of very high frequency, and all of the 3 floats we deployed have been collecting and sending data without any problems so far. So these floats have been just deployed very recently, and this morning, it's the number 14, the Nammador, according to the Japanese the meteorological agency, the typhoon could take this route, and this star shows one of the floats we deployed, and it's very likely that tropical typhoon Nammador, they could come very near to this Argo. So we look forward to having the very detailed data. So on board, we had a lecture explaining what I just explained to you, and how the float works, and objectives of the Argo float projects, and also its relations with typhoons. These are the very good questions I received from the participants. I was a researcher, but at the same time, I could become a trainee. Well, in fact, I had a choice, and I decided to join not only as a researcher but also as a trainee. And every day there were 3 shifts for watches for every 8 hours, and I was part of it. So we expanded and folded the sails, and so we needed to pull these ropes like this. So I had a very hard palm, and I also climbed up to the top of the mast in extending and folding these sails. And that was really the very valuable opportunity for me. And we slept in this room using a hammock. So this was I had never slept on the hammock, and I really enjoyed these days. And in addition, as you will hear more in detail from younger participants, we also had discussions on SDGs. And Norwegian researchers, the observation activities, we enjoyed watching them. And as you can see on the right, you might think that many people don't wear the tops. In fact, on the other hand, on the other side of the ship, some people were enjoying the swimming. Of course, the safety measures had been taken, and with the boats, as you can see. So this is the area where the sea depth runs the 1,400 meters. And we also the Lehmkuhl games. All games related to the sailing boats, the tug of wars, and also the how fast and neatly we can fold up the sails, and also how quickly and appropriately we can install the harnesses. And the three watch groups they competed, and the watch that I was a member on won the game. So we deployed three the Argo floats successfully. Thank you very much indeed. And particularly as the time goes by, I had many opportunities talking with other trainees on board, and we discussed the ocean-related issues. We started with global warming, and then which is very connected to the sea level rise, which led us to the discussion on the potential submergence of small island and then island nations, which led us to EEZs and international diplomatic relations, and the fishery stock management and pollution as well. So our perspectives expanded gradually. We discussed so many issues very widely amongst us. And so we recognize once again that all of these issues are closely related with each other, and we shared this important recognition. So in addressing so many issues, the people from island nations particularly said that education is of great importance. Not only education of one area, but the ocean science, international relations, and ethics, and other basic areas are very important, as they said, so that the further more specific education can be built on these very basic the areas of knowledge. So it was the unusual the days that we spent, and it was the very closed living space in which we lived. And virtually, I would say that there are no the leaders. So amongst the watch groups, somebody gradually started to take leadership. So we experienced that the people got together to play their own roles in order to find solutions to problems we faced. So that was a very closed quarters, and we each one of us expressed our own opinions. We might make mistakes. Some was rather reluctant to express themselves at first, but instead of continued to be reluctant to express themselves, the people started to become more open, and they came forward to express their own opinions very freely. So if they realize they make mistakes, they can always correct. I really appreciate the the opportunity that I have been given by the OPRI SPF, and also I greatly appreciate the kind care and the hospitality that the Statsraad Lehmkuhl and other related organizations they give to me.
We are going to listen another report from the youngsters all over the world. Actually, we, Ocean Policy Research Institute, Saskia Peace Foundation, supported 6 young generation youth group, from one from Indonesia, and one from Fiji, and one from New Zealand, and one from Portugal, and 2 from Palau. So as a representative of this, and including the one from Ocean Policy Research Institute, so a representative of youth group, could you please explain the report from your viewpoint, please?
Okay, there we go. Konbanwa minasan. Thank you for the opportunity to present at the 191st Ocean Forum. So my name's Lucy, and I'm from New Zealand. And this is Adi, he's from Indonesia. And we're presenting on behalf of the 6 young adults who were selected by SPF to take part in the One Ocean expedition from Palau to Yokohama. So as already mentioned, we come from a range of different countries. So 2 from Palau, 1 from Fiji, 1 from Portugal, Indonesia, New Zealand, and of course, Nana-san from Japan. But in total, on the ship, there were 75 people on board. That included 25 crew members and 50 voyage trainees, which included us. We were from 12 different countries across 4 continents. So, as you know, the One Ocean expedition is a ship filled with students, researchers, and voyage crew who all work together to sail and gather experience and knowledge about the ocean. But what really stood out for me and for many other people that I spoke to is that although we came from many different backgrounds and cultures and spoke many different first languages, we all worked together to sail the ship through a mix of conditions. And as you'll see, some of those conditions were quite challenging. It was really the diversity on the ship and the stories that we heard from one another that made it such a valuable and enriching experience. Okay, so over to you, Eddie.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm gonna explain what we did for 16 days on the ship. It's basically our home, and Satoru-san, he's one of us. We live together. Has basically covered the most part. So we divided into 3 watches: the blue, white, and the red watches, and we did 8-hour shift every day. And you can see this is my. I love the most, like I love rigging. We go to the royal mast, the upper, and then we fold the sail, and then we lose the sail if they told us, and really feeling the breeze from the sea and gazing the horizon. And then we have 4 watches. The first one is buoy watch, which basically looking out if any people has fallen from the ship overboard, and it's a good watch. There's no people overboard to this time. And then this is the lookout, where we basically see the objects in front of the sea if there's damaging the ship, like any other ship or an island or something like that. And the third one is fire watch. His job is looking for fire that really unwanted fire. and the last one is helm watch, and it's really crazy. We just board the ship for a couple of hours, but they trusted us to steer the ship, and we managed not to steer back to Palau, and we arrived in Yokohama. So after the watch, we are very productive. After the watch, after the physical watch, we have some discussion to do, like with Astrid and Judith, the researcher from Norway. They do the plastic pollution. And then Satoru-san and Ayako-san from Jamstec also have a presentation about the Argo floats. And we have the sustainable discussion also on the board. And we have a spontaneous discussion. It's our friend Hani who gathered us from our friend from Norway, and Gabriel from Fiji, and myself have a discussion about fisheries, a geopolitical and territory dispute. But as a hydrographer, I want to highlight the map we have over here. Arthur C. Clarke said that how inappropriate to call this planet Earth when it is quietly clearly ocean. Like if we put it this way, the upside down map, we can see visually and we can see the main concern on the main center of the map is an ocean. Like we connected by it. Like it should be our focus from a long time ago. So, okay.
And I would just like to say that as a New Zealander, I really like that map. Could you go back? Could you go back?
Oh yeah.
Because we're often left off the world map, but you can see us now, we are top and center. All right, okay, yes. Okay, so when we first left Palau, the ocean was really, really flat for 4 days. And I was really hoping it would stay that way. But of course, we were chasing a Typhoon Hinnamnor, which developed into a super typhoon. So the waves did start, and you can see me on the right. I was getting a bit seasick. And I have to say, it's the best thing ever when you're feeling seasick and someone decides to start taking photos of you. Thank you, Andre. But luckily for me, the seasickness did pass. And actually on the third day, when it was wavy, we got very close to the typhoon. So we were all had to get out of bed at 5 a.m. We were all got up. It was all hands on deck. We had to turn the ship because the winds were so strong that one watch couldn't turn the ship by themselves. So we all worked together. And I have a video from that day that I'll just show you now. So you can see they've set up ropes because it was dangerous. Oh, sorry, it's jumping a bit. It was dangerous to walk around without the ropes. So it was definitely an interesting experience for sure. We had lots of waves coming over the top of the boat as well. Okay, so I work in science communication. So I took the opportunity to speak to the other individuals who were selected by SPF. And I wanted to play for you a couple of quotes that I think really sum up beautifully the purpose of the expedition. So I think the first up will be Gabriel from Fiji. So here we go, I hope this works.
Like I see what's happening on this boat, and I relate it to our work, the global work on the ocean and our environment. So to run this ship, to keep this ship floating and moving through the rough seas we experienced a couple of days ago, one person or one team alone cannot keep it afloat or cannot keep it moving or on course. But it's the same thing for the environment. We cannot, one country, one person, one movement, one organization is not enough. Well, even though they have all the time. So we need to work together. I guess this expedition has really showed me that international cooperation and cooperation at every level is essential to this fight. And I can see that really working well in this ship. And I believe that it is working well in the world, and I believe we can even improve that on a global level.
Okay, and then it's Ayla from Palau.
Part of my motivation to join this voyage was also because I wanted to meet other like-minded people that think the same about marine conservation. And the fact that they're from different nationalities is a bonus, because I've just met people from Fiji, Indonesia, New Zealand, Norway especially, and they're all very passionate about marine conservation. Even though they come from different backgrounds, I've learned so much from them, especially just being encouraged by what they have done.
So in summary, it was 17 days from Palau to Yokohama, sorry. We journeyed 2,150 nautical miles and sailed 66% of the time. And the captain summarized it by saying, we fought a typhoon, jumped into the blue ocean, saw rare whales, changed sails when they blew out, leaned a little more to the end of the rope when we felt that our shipmates were getting tired, made new friends, and discussed what we could do about climate change. So before I hand back over to Adi to close, I'd just like to thank the Sasakawa Peace Foundation once again for this incredible opportunity.
Okay. So if we have to summarize what we've been through the 16 days is to tidy up. So we define it to put things where it should be. Like the plastic shouldn't be on the ocean. Like the fish should be in the ocean. And then the trees should be on the forest. And what always been there is the wind, the waves, and the sun. And I think Statsraad Lehmkuhl did it. Like we harnessed the wind, we chased the typhoon, we harnessed the typhoon, and we did that to sustain the ship itself. And then how to do it? We help each other. The perfect example to help each other, help each nation. I think the perfect example is how Sasakawa Foundation, Peace Foundation did it. Like they fund us, the youth from 6 countries, and then to join this trip. And because of that, we have responsibilities to spread the awareness, to spread the knowledge we had on this trip. Because I think it would be selfish to keep it to ourselves. So it's basically we help the SPF help Indonesia, Fiji, Palau, Portugal, and New Zealand to sustain themselves. So for this is the last slide we had. For those who will join the voyage, the One Ocean Expedition, I can guarantee that you will have good friends. We are 70 people from 12 different countries, and we get along very well, and we have good visitors from working. We have good teachers, and everybody is their own teacher and their students. We learn a lot. We learn a lot from each other, and we have good discussion, as we said, and we have really good food and good views. Also, we have watch whales and then sunsets and then the stars, and lastly,
Good luck.
Okay, thank you very much, Lucy and Ari. They have proved this One Ocean Expedition, well attracted, youth people, and also I really hope you can continue and develop your career. And finally, sitting next to me as instead of Vladimir, as a world leader of ocean science. So please. Do it, yes. Okay, so a little bit we are behind from the schedule, but next I would like to ask His Excellency Mr. Stephen Victor, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and the Environment of the Republic Palau, to comment on each presentation. Minister Victor, could you start? To take your floor.
Thank you, Dr. Sakaguchi, and for the opportunity to speak at the panel. I focus my reflection on the last presenters, as I was very struck by the reflection, particularly the young men from Fiji. I think, and I thank Sasakawa Peace Foundation for and the Tolsif for creating that opportunity for these young future leaders of the Pacific and around the world to learn stewardship of our global Earth environment. I think the young man from Fiji said it very well, that not one person, not one country can fix the problem that we are facing today on the ocean. The problem that we're facing on the ocean is caused by us human beings, and we're the only one who can fix this problem with the right political will. And the ship provided that example for these young leaders to reimagine a future where they will be on the helm taking on those key and important decisions about the trajectory of our planet. They set sail out of Palau in calm water. They encounter a storm, and that's exactly where our world today, we are facing a storm. The difference is these young leaders all work together to navigate through that storm. Unfortunately, what we see at international forums is sometimes we are all not working together to address these problems as global leaders. And I think these young men and women have a lot to teach us as leaders on what responsibilities we have today to give them a future and an ocean that is better than we inherited. And so I hope that's something that will resonate at the coming COP27 and the CBD Cup in terms of we all need to work in unison. I think sometimes we need to put our national agenda on hold and focus on the global agenda around what we need to do on the ocean. For Palau, Palau has taken action on the ocean well before our ocean decade. Palau was one of the first countries to ban deep sea mining, one of the first countries to ban bottom trawling because we knew the impact. We didn't wait for the science to tell us that we need to stop doing those things. Even with deep sea mining, Palau has taken on the leadership role to call on moratorium on deep sea mining because while there's lack of adequate data to tell us what the potential impact, we know and we should take that precautionary approach to the ocean that is already in a situation where recovery is becoming difficult for the ocean if we continue to harm the ocean. And so for Palau, we've taken that responsibility and stewardship to utilize the science we have and the new science that are coming to bear to inform and guide how Palau makes its decision on how we use our oceans for our people, for biodiversity, and for the global good of the global community. Palau has developed a blue prosperity plan in hopes of developing a resilient blue economy that balances protection and production. We will be embarking on a marine spatial planning over the next 3 years, and this is where the science will come into play to help us make appropriate decisions on how we're balancing sustainable fisheries and protection of biodiversity within Palau's waters that will benefit Palau's socioeconomically, but also contribute to addressing global health of the ocean. And so I hope that these opportunities for young people will continue to be encouraged. And we again thank the Sasakawa Peace Foundation and the Norwegian government for enabling those learning. Because what I also see happening is these young men and women living in and learning in the ship, particularly being able to communicate the science that they learn. Oftentimes, scientists collect really important data, but oftentimes communicating that data and information in a way that resonates with policymakers, with general public to help move them to act or change behavior are often years behind. And so being on the ship, I think and believe that they had that opportunity to learn and be able to translate that science in a way that resonates with their peers. And with their peers, they can influence decision makers within the respective countries where they came from that will help advance action on the ocean. So again, thank you for the opportunity to provide Palau's perspective on this voyage, and particularly I applaud the young men and women who took that opportunity to sail from where they boarded the ship to Yokohama. And again, I continue to encourage more of this voyage, bringing in citizen science to the ocean. Palau territory is 90% ocean, and yet most of us have not seen or feel what that ocean looks like. So kudos to the two young Palauans who have taken that opportunity to experience and learn what Palau Ocean has in terms of biodiversity, but in terms of the challenges that it's facing, and the ocean that faces challenges will have an impact on the future of many of us who live on Pacific Islands and many coastal states. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Stephen, for your comprehensive and very educational comments for youth generation and also perspective of Palau's way. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to ask Dr. Sugimoto, Research Fellow, Japan Fisheries Research and Education Agency. Dr. Sugimoto, could you please give your comment?
はい、聞こえてますか?
Can you hear me? I was asked to give you a comment. I was told beforehand that I would have about 5 minutes. So is that what I can do? And then, I am Sugimoto. I'm a social scientist at the Japan Fisheries Research and Education Agency. The regional community is a main focus of my study as social scientist and anthropologist. And I'm sorry that I could not join you here today because I'm right now in Kikuejima Island, which is one of the Goto Islands in Nagasaki Prefecture. And you might know Jeju Island of Korea. And I would say the distance from Jeju Island and Fukuoka City of Kyushu are at the equal distance, so to speak, and therefore it is called the separated island on the border. And you know that environment affects people. So local community perspective is something that is quite accentuated given such an environment in isolated island. I listened to other speakers, some of them refer to typhoon, and yet the typhoon is moving toward Japan one after another. And for about 10 years, I used to be engaged in social science research in Ishigaki Island in Okinawa. And this year, the Ishigaki Island was hit by typhoons one after another. But before that, there was no typhoon coming around Okinawa and Ishigaki Island. That resulted in the accelerated bleaching of coral reef in
Okinawa Prefecture. And according to collaborators of research, they said that the coral reef is almost white or bleached if typhoon is not coming. And then they might eventually die. So they felt that the situation was quite urgent, and that's what I was told as a threat. Therefore, typhoon, when it hits the area where people live, of course, the lives of the people are affected deeply. That, of course, is a major concern. But when the coral is on the verge of dying, the many people were praying for a typhoon to come. And now that the typhoon is frequently coming closer to Ishigaki Island, hope that that will help recovery of coral reef. The bleaching of coral reef, as well as the seaweed, seagrass forest that is now shrinking and disappearing according to data. Desertification of a beach, among others, are the major concern for the local people. And they are viewed as imminent threat for local coastal communities. And such a situation strikes me every time I visit such local communities. And as I listen to presentations, one question that came up to my mind, frankly, is related to the keyword, which is knowledge divide. Which divide does this phrase refer to? The divide between who and who? That was not clear. To me, personally, the knowledge divide that I consider as a major concern is about the ocean scientists and the general public. The knowledge divide that exists between them is extremely serious. As in the case of UN Ocean Decade, and as in the case of the Ocean Forum that we are meeting today, ocean environment and future of mankind are now faced with imminent crisis where things like knowledge, expertise, data, discussion for the lay person, that is general public, whether they are really delivered to the general public. And that's a major concern that I have looking at the situation. And as I belong to the Japan Fisheries Research and Education Agency, we have accumulated the data based upon the report and coverage by media, and I produced a report based upon that. And if I put the conclusion here, Japan has a close relationship with the ocean and has a long history of fishery, yet the ocean literacy and ocean ecosystem held by the general public, the situation that the fishermen are faced with, are scarcely understood by the people, indicating very low level of the literacy among the general public. It has to be improved. And that's a role and responsibility of an organization as well as other ocean scientists, the national research institutions. And that's the conclusion that I put in that report. And that's the people who are here today hope that we can deepen discussion with the people like you who are here today. And although I've never been to Palau, I visited Indonesia and the Philippines, and I enjoyed undertaking projects with wonderful scholars, scientists of those countries. And what impressed me most was that in countries like Indonesia and the Philippines, those scientists are close to the communities. In fact, they are working for the community. In fact, more than Japan, I would say. And there was a lot more that I learned from those scholars and scientists, researchers in other countries rather than my counterpart here in Japan. And that's all the impression that I can share with you for now.
For your comment and question. If we can have time, we can ask all the panel to get the answer, for your question. Okay, so next we would like to ask Dr. Harada, professor of the University of Tokyo, for her comment overall. Not only for young generation, but all the opinion, and also from the standpoint of Japanese way to proceed the UN Ocean Decade.
Okay, thank you very much, Sakaguchi-san. So my name is Nami Harada, and from the University of Tokyo Atmosphere and Ocean Research Institute. Today, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. So I would like to briefly introduce about the Japanese initiatives to the United Nations Decade of Ocean Science. So I am very sorry, this slide is written in Japanese only, but what I would like to emphasize in this slide is that if we go back to the 50 years, so the United Nations launched the first UN Decade of Ocean Science, namely the International Decade of Ocean Exploration from the 1971 to 1980. So that now ongoing UN Decade of Ocean Science is the second challenges. So there are some different tips and common tips between the first and the second UN DOS. The biggest difference is the purpose of the first UN DOS. So 50 years ago, the purpose is to enhance the ocean utilization for human societies only. So there was no point of view for sustainable development of beautiful nature, beautiful environment, and also rich lives on the earth. So this is a very big difference between the first and second UN DOS. But there is the common tips. So the academia, societies, and organisms have contributed to Decade of Ocean Science through the UN DOS endorsed lots of programs and projects. But the feature of this second UN DOS is the many programs and projects are in terms of for sustainable development of ecosystems and biological and the rich lives. So this is the very important things to our societies, human societies. Another different tips is in the second UN DOS is the participants becomes more broader. So this is an example of the initiatives from the ocean policies. So Japan would like to contribute to the second UN DOS from the ocean policies. So the one unproposed solutions to achieve the UN DOS is the promotion Japan's initiatives that can be applied by other countries in the world, and as initiatives that complement existing targets and global indicators as Japan models in cooperation with domestic and foreign stakeholders in the public and private sectors and disseminate them. So this is 6 examples with high priorities to achieve the UN DOS. One is ocean big data, utilization of ocean big data, and to resolve the marine plastic issues. And also the important thing is climate disaster prevention, and IUU fishing, and marine educations, and also supporting and the small island state. So these are things. So Japan's ocean policy will include these Japanese models to contribute to an UN decade of ocean. So, so this is my final slides. So, but still we realize we have some challenges. The biggest challenge is linkage of an individual national initiatives, information sharing, and education capacity building. So in this, I hope we can find some tips from today's panel discussions to salute these challenges. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Harada, for the perspective of Japanese wife for UN Ocean Decade, not only UN Ocean Decade, but also policy, you know, she's a member of the cabinet offices, you know, for the ocean policy making. So it's a very important opinion. Okay, so before closing remarks given by Dr. Ando, we have a few minutes to discuss about that. And the one question given by Dr. Sugimoto, so I think she meant a knowledge gap in between scientists and also citizens for ocean issues. Just from Vladimir, could you please give your comment for this question?
Thank you very much, Hide. We had a good discussion. Actually, I'm really grateful to Professor Harada for mentioning the decade of ocean exploration. You know, actually, when we're proposing the decade, we call it for the first time second decade, you know, because of course we knew. And the difference is indeed very significant. This is the difference in philosophy and strategy. We wanted to know what ocean is. In 1970. The decade was also coordinated by the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission of UNESCO, but it was not a United Nations decade. It was just a consortium of willing. Now we were able to engage the United Nations. And you know, this changes all, because you know, this is a decade that will help people to live in more harmony with the ocean and to become better people and to help the ocean to survive. That's the noble goal of the decade. And indeed, what Dr. Sugimoto mentioned was the following. So indeed, there is a significant difference in knowledge about the ocean, and when you see an average people on the street, they know not a lot. So indeed, the approach to this is reflected in the challenge number 10, change our relations with the ocean towards more harmony. And the way forward in this particular case is ocean literacy. That will start in schools. Already I know that there is one community in Brazil that decided that there will be ocean education in schools. And they've established a law in that community. There will be soon a conference on ocean literacy. There is a portal on ocean literacy. We have to deal with general public, with journalists, decision makers, businessmen. There are seven categories of people that would really like to educate. There are tools, there are toolkits. So please just log to the Ocean Literacy portal that IOC is holding, and I think you will be enabled in this work on bringing people together with the ocean. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vladimir. I think it's very essential opinion to her question. François, you still there? Oh yes. You still there? Yes. Could you please give your comment for the knowledge gap in between scientists and the citizens?
Maybe the first point I wanted to mention is that I'm not an oceanographer by background, so I was not aware of this international decade for ocean exploration. So I was interested very much on the comparison, and I do agree with my understanding is that there are indeed very big differences. Regarding this issue of the gap between the citizens, civil society on the side, and ocean scientists on the other side, I do agree with you. I will take a few examples. Here in Europe, there is a mission for the restoration of ocean, the health of the ocean, and the health of the inland waters. And so we were invited to organize a consultation of the citizens on what they expected from such a mission from the European Commission. And so we were able to attract more than 6,000 people who responded to our survey or inquiry, which was quite a lot. Which means that, and we were able to do that in a very short period. So, which means that people are somehow curious and interested. But what also they say, so the expectations were not surprising. They were concerned by ocean pollution, ocean sea level rise, not that much about ocean biodiversity, which they don't understand that well, to put it simply. But on the other side, what they said is that they were interested in having more information, so they were somehow lacking information. And so here we have something to do on our side. I mean, the research organizations or the scientists. The second point I would like to say is that I was impressed by the experience on the Norwegian ship, and of course there is a sort of echo between what they presented, the two young people, and what we did in the Indian Ocean recently. And I feel that we have to engage the youth one way or the other, but not only those who are interested in ocean science, also those who are not interested in ocean. And one of the critical points is to somehow interest people who are not supposed to be to become oceanographers or sailors. I think we have to engage people who are, for example, in the mainland, wherever this mainland may be. And maybe the last point I would like to emphasize is that there is also in France, because of the decade, there was a decision by the Ministry of Education to launch a sort of program, maybe more or less along the same line as the one that Vladimir mentioned from Brazil. So to launch a program and a reflection on how to better teach or inform the young people about the ocean. So, well, I don't know whether this is Well, these are a few comments, but I definitely feel that there is something to be done with the youth. On the other side, and that was, as I think clearly mentioned, we have also big things to do regarding the divide between countries. We in France have the opportunity to be present in many oceans in the overseas territories. I feel that there, and we have a program that we started 1.5 years ago with the French Agency for Development, AFD, and this program aims at linking what we do in France mainland, what we do in these overseas territories, with what we can do with neighbor countries in the ocean basins. For example, we collaborate with Fiji from French Polynesia and from Montpellier in France to work on the restoration of coral reefs. I think there is something to be done also with those countries which have less means for developing knowledge and for acquiring knowledge and for sharing and disseminating knowledge. I think this is something definitely important.
Thank you, François, for your very deep and also practical, answers for the question. Silly, Dr. Carlson, could you please give your comment for this, issues?
Yes, I think this is a key difference, as has been stated by Dr. Hanet also, that this is not only about acquiring new knowledge, it's about gathering the knowledge that we have and making use of it in new ways, and that overcoming this knowledge gap is the most important of all. So I'd like to mention one initiative that the Norwegian Research Council is launching in Norway right now, that is rolling out some very practical help for school teachers to implement ocean literacy into the schools at all levels. And I think sort of making it, because all the teachers that are already out there and are raising a new generation ocean, they don't necessarily have the tools for it. So we have to sort of help build this knowledge across the nation. And as Dr. Houllier very clearly said, it's not enough that we have well-schooled ocean scientists. In Norway, we have the highest number of ocean scientists per capita in the world, but that doesn't help if most Norwegians, even living along this very long coast that we have, don't have the knowledge that they need to know how important the ocean is for our survival. So we need to reach out to the schools, and I think this is a good way of doing it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carlson. Minister Stephen, you have a quick comment on this issue?
Thank you, Doctor, and I thank you, Dr. Sugimoto, for raising that very important point. I think oftentimes it's really how scientists translate the information in a way that's accessible to the general public from scientific papers. And second, I think the need to link the science with traditional ecological knowledge is very important for lay people as well as communities who have lived with the resource for a very long time, and so they have that understanding of how they've seen things change, but they don't understand why it's changing. So linking that science with what communities have observed and learned over time, I think very important in terms of translating and linking both the science and ecological knowledge in a way that's understood and support its type of knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Stephen. And then at last, Professor Harada, Dr. Harada, you have your own comment on this issue, quickly.
Okay, quickly. Okay, so I think that is the very good example is to sharing the same time. For example, the Lehmkuhl cruise was very, very good example to making the network for the youth peoples. So they can understand many special, specific oceanographic issues, and also they could discuss about that that experience is very, very good for them. So I think this is very good example to salute, to resolve this kind of, to improve the ocean literacy for everybody's.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harada. I hope Dr. Sugimoto will be partially, satisfied all the answer, giving us from the panels. And thank you very much for this essential question. Okay, so let's move on the closing remarks by Dr. Kentaro Ando. He's a co-chair of Westpac. Westpac means Western Pacific Area of IOC UNESCO. Dr. Ando, could you please give the comment for overall this forum?
Yes, thank you very much, Hide-san. My name is Ken Ando, and as introduced, I am one of co-chairperson of IOC Westpac. Westpac is one of the regional sub-commission of IOC, so I have been working with Vladimir for a long time. And I'm also the directors of international cooperation in the Western Pacific. So I would like to make general remarks at this Marine Forum. So invited lectures and speakers and panel talks and comments from commentators were all wonderful and helpful in promoting UN Decade of Ocean Science in futures. And then I try to make my comment very short. So I would like to say two main issues. One is, as we discussed by many speakers, at first, the one importance is the building international partnership or cooperation under this UN Decade of Ocean Science, focusing more on capacity development and also ocean literacies. International partnership is, of course, important and indispensable for advancing marine science and strengthening its cooperation with society. And of course, we have discussed not just among scientists, but with diverse stakeholders, including students and even with primary school students. And I would like to emphasize considering the diversities in this context. In this context, more people will be able to participation and advancing marine science through collaboration with society and contributing to society could be more successful. So it is necessary to invite more people from various stakeholders. I want to say that diversity includes variety of stakeholders, generations such as young, middle-aged, and elderly like me, as well as genders and regional differences. Everyone talks about needs to implement it, and I hope we can do this. What we can do first for engaging wide range of people, stakeholders, the first things we can do is to understand each other's. And also I think that exchange using highly transparent, accurate, and timely marine science informations will be base for that. In that sense, I think it is important to meet face-to-face and talk like this. And also I think everyone feels that the importance of that at this time. I also think that we should contribute to strengthen communication by using information technologies, which has been more familiar during the COVID pandemic period. So maybe we need to think two ways, face-to-face, meeting to understand each other's, and also using the IT technologies. That is one thing I want to emphasize. And also, I would like to, as all mentioned before, that it is necessary to engage more younger generations. So I learned a lot today from the talk by Yokoi-san and the two young men and women who are on board of Norwegian sail ships. It is quite impressive. And I try to shorten my talk. So as you know, Yokoi-san mentioned, the sailing ship is closed world, but please consider that we are also living in a closed world named Earth. We need to work together. As you know, Yokoi-san mentioned, yes, of course we need to work together. Do not, limit by the borders of our countries. Please, maybe we need to work together under this, UN Decade of Ocean for the people living on Earth in a closed world. So that is my message. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kentaro. I think not only you, but we all, learned a lot, from this forum today. And also, I thank Ambassador Nihamo and also Ambassador Adelbai being with us for all the time with us. And also, I found out nobody has slept in this room. And we are all, excited to be, with us today. And I thank very much all the panelists today and also the youth generation and plus the Dr. Yokoi for giving us a very exciting the report today. Before leaving this room, I would like to introduce very special person, Mr. Håkon Butler. He is CEO of Statsraad Lehmkuhl Foundation. And also he is the expedition leader of One Ocean expedition. And plus one more very important affiliation of him is he's a band leader of the very famous rock band, what's that? I have a cunning paper, the Storm Weather Shanty Choir. And he's gonna give some remarks plus some special, show, because as we are all aware of, as Vladimir mentioned, ocean now is a very disastrous state. But we should solve the problem. But the energy is coming from fun, right? And if nothing interesting, nothing fun, we're going to lose energy. But together with his special, the show, we were getting the energy, and then we can finalize this forum with lots of, energy. So, Håkon, could you please start?
Thank you, President Sakaguchi-kan, Ambassador Nihammer, Ambassador Adelbai, Executive Secretary Ryabinin, and all others, and especially for the younger generation, the students. It's super to be here, and it's an honor to be here. And it's an honor to have my ship or our ship behind here as the scenery of this fantastic conference. It's been very interesting to be here. As has been said, we are in a crisis, and it's easy to get depressed. And I also think it's very easy for the younger generations to lose hope. And I even sometimes, one of my favorite artists is Tom Waits. And he sings that if there's one thing you can say about mankind, there's nothing kind about man. And that's why also the UN Ocean Decade is extremely important. Also to get the research and the science we need for the oceans we want. But as important is also to inspire and engage the people we want for the oceans we want. And what was also discussed here is how to reduce the gap between the scientists and the public and the people. Well, that is what we are doing on board the Statsraad Lehmkuhl. We've been out sailing now for over a year. We have had several thousands of young people from all over the world. And I will also say, just follow these students who've been on board now. They have created a network, and they are the future bright heads of the world, and they can make global differences in the year to come, because it's much easier for you guys to phone each other, since you've been showering together, sleeping close together, you know actually everything about each other. So I also have a suggestion that maybe you should have the 192nd Ocean Forum on board the ship, where you all work together, hold the ropes, and see how it is. The discussions are going much better when you get off your shirt and you stand there holding the ropes. So that is what we are doing, and tomorrow we are leaving. We also just want to say thank you for the fantastic cooperation we've had with you, having your students on board. That's also what it is. It's one ocean, getting institutes and people to talk together. We are now moving onwards. We're going to Naha, Ishigaki. We hope to avoid the typhoons. Further on, we're going to go to Manila, Singapore, Jakarta, Mauritius, Maputo, Cape Town, cross the Atlantic twice before we get back to Bergen. And the 15th of April next year, where there's going to be a One Ocean Week. And I hope some of the students and I hope all of you will come there to discuss the findings and see what we can do together. Our ship, what we are going to do the next 8 years is also that we are going to be a floating ambassador for the UN Ocean Decade. We have now got the research instruments on board. We're not going to put that ashore when we come back. We're going to plan for the future. And hopefully you will be on board, and hopefully the world can use our ship as a tool to promote the oceans. Because what is important? I'm a musician, so I will not talk more now. But also being a musician is something parallels here. Like, you know, if you think you've made the best song in the world, it doesn't help if the audience hasn't heard it. If you do the best research in the world, it doesn't help if you don't get it out to the crowd. And what we do on board the ship, I started on deck, so I've been doing everything what they did. And on board the ship, I learned shanties, which are working songs that we use to hoist the sails, and we hold together. It's the definition of team building, also what the world needs. We should all hold together in the same rope. And I had the privilege with my band we have actually been touring 3 times in Japan. And when I came here the first time, they advised us to learn a Japanese song. We did not know that it was very famous in Japan, so we were shocked when we sang it and everybody joined in on the refrains. So I will try and close up with this shanty. So, and then all you Japanese, you have to join in. Otherwise, it's going to be quite embarrassing, because singing a shanty has to include everyone. Are you ready? Yes. They don't sit while they're holding the ropes. And this is the last thing, and you all have your face masks on, so I would ask you to stand up. Just come stand here and be a bit closer. We're all in it together. And I really trust that you know the Soran Bushi. You do? Yeah, come even closer then. We're all together. Yes, please here, be my choir. Thank you. I asked a seagull the tidal news. I am leaving now. I asked the waves the same joy. Yasae enya ensana dokoisho. Ah, dokoisho, dokoisho. Yaren soran, 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 soran. Hi, hi. I will sleep on a satin pillow tonight. Tomorrow I will leave on the waves. Joy, yasae, enya, ensana, dokoisho. Ah, dokoisho, dokoisho. Yaren, soran, 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 soran. Hi, hi.
I will sleep on a satin pillow tonight. Tomorrow I'll be asleep on the waves. Yasae, yasae, enya, ensana, dokoisho. Ah, dokoisho, dokoisho. Yaren, soran, 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 soran. Hi, hi. I'd like to listen to the seagulls at the sea, so I could chat with them and exchange some news. Joy, yasai, enya, ensana, dokoisho, ah, dokoisho, dokoisho, yaren, soran, 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 soran. Hi, hi. I like to listen to the seagulls at the sea, so I cannot stop being a fisherman. Joy, yasai, enya, ensana, dokoisho, ah, dokoisho, dokoisho, yaren, soran, 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 soran. Hi, hi, and again, yaren, soran, 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 soran. And again, yaren, soran, 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 soran. Hi, hi, last time. Yaren, soran, 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 soran. Hi, hi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Butler, Hakum Butler. Your entertainment, gave us extra energy to promote UN Ocean Decade. And also tonight, this forum is fully recorded, and then all of us can see it in a YouTube if you forget part by part, because all of us gave lots of important opinion and comment and activities. So please distribute or redistribute your friends, family, and the children, whoever, to reunite this tonight's moment. So again, I thank you all very much coming together and forming this important forum as a 191st our forum. Thank you very much.